Hello everyone! Today we are going to be discussing Ma Huan, who is another famous Chinese landscape artist that we have not discussed in class. He produced beautiful pieces, and we are going to talk about one of them today. The members of this group are Cameron Ashley, Erin Rockwell, and Shirley. This piece we are going to be discussing today is titled Scholar Viewing a Waterfall. It was created in the late 12th to 13th century, which is during the Southern Song dynasty. It was made on album leaf ink and color on silk. It was relatively small, 10 inches by 10 inches. Ma Huan was a famous Chinese artist born around 1160 CE during the Southern Song dynasty in China. Ma was born into a family of court painters and began his career under Emperor Xiaozong. He later served as a painter in attendance under Guozong and Ningzong. Under Emperor Ningzong, he received the Golden Belt, which was the highest Chinese honor at the time. He later died in 1225 CE. Little is known about Ma Huan's life because he was neither a scholar nor an official and never wrote about his life. In Ma's lifetime, he achieved great success with his landscape art and became highly influential. His fanciful interpretation of nature set the tone for future artists. His art, along with Zigui, formed the basis of the Ma-Ji school of painting. He was also famous for his one-corner paintings that condensed a large amount of the image into one corner, while leaving the other corner nearly blank. However, because of his large influence, it is difficult to determine which works are genuinely his and which works are created by his followers. The overall image features two gentlemen walking through a garden. One looks down pensively into a river below. The foreground features some rocks and tree brush. The middle ground features the scholar and his friend, walking along the bridge. The background is fairly empty, but we can make out the detail of a waterfall and some mountains. The rock in the foreground features a brushstroke style called the axe-cut stroke, which Ma is known for. They are triangular strokes that resemble cuts made by an axe. These strokes are made with a triangular brush. The rest of the rock is dark, with few areas of light. The rock is surrounded by some leaf-like objects that look similar to the outline method brushstroke. However, there are more extended triangles than the typical outline method. The next important piece of the foreground is the tree. This tree has the typical crab claw branches with very sharp angles. It comes out of the left side of the painting and stretches over the scholar. The main parts of the tree are darker and more intense than some of the brush in behind it. The leaves look similar to pine needles towards the front. Behind those, the outline method is being used and is easily identifiable by the triangle aspect. Next, we move on to the middle ground. There are two people standing on a bridge. One looks down into the unknown. He has hair tied in a bun and is wearing a simple garment. The person next to him is a bit smaller and has his hair tied up as well. He carries some sort of staff-looking object and is wearing simple robes. This person looks toward the ground, but the look on his face is too small to see. The bridge they walk along looks like a ruled line style, similar to the architecture used in other paintings from this period. The background is fairly vacant, There is a waterfall behind the two people who stand on the bridge. This waterfall flows straight down into an unknown water source. There is some simple shading around it as well. Here we can see the mountain that the waterfall is on. The right side of the piece is fairly blank, which is typical of Ma Huan's style, as he is known for his one-corner paintings. In this image, it is obvious that he has used the same style again, as all of the action is condensed into the left-hand side of the painting. Scholar Viewing the Waterfall is a beautiful nature-themed silk painting by Ma Huan. Ma Huan, known as the one-corner painter, focuses all of his attention to the bottom left of the painting. The function of this art piece is to emphasize the relationship between humankind and nature. This painting encourages the viewer to step into the shoes of the scholar, to reflect and watch the cascade of water, and immerse the viewer in the surrounding nature. Ma Huan's painting inspires the viewer to reflect not only on the power of the world and nature, but also the purpose of humankind and our place within the world. There is more emphasis on nature and the area surrounding the individuals, rather than the individuals themselves, reflecting the dominant landscape theme in the Song dynasty. Unfortunately, it is unknown whether or not this piece was commissioned by someone. The image we will be comparing to Scholar Viewing a Waterfall is a solitary temple amid clearing peaks, which is attributed to Li Shang. This was created during the Northern Song dynasty, around 960. It is a hanging scroll with ink and color on silk. It measures at about 44 inches by 22 inches. Comparing Scholar Viewing a Waterfall to that of A Solitary Temple Amid Clearing Peaks, we see many similarities, but also a few differences in these two-dimensional representations. We see the expected crabclaw trees in both paintings, although the artists have rendered the vegetation using different brushstrokes. The trees appear to be a signal to the viewer to look in the direction of the emptiness of the canvas, perhaps to encourage the viewer to pause and reflect, or possibly to rest the eye before continuing their exploration around the painting. Perspective has been approached in a more realistic manner with the Scholar painting, in that the figures in relation to their placement in the painting and their immediate surrounding appear to be appropriate in scale. The mountain and the waterfall in the distance has faded into the background, which we would expect to see either because of distance or because of the spray from the waterfall. In contrast, we almost lose the perspective of foreground, middle, and background in Chang's painting. The mountain has been brought forward, almost in the same plane as the middle ground, to only be separated by a band of mist in the center of the painting. The Scholar painting feels much lighter, both in composition as well as tone. We also see Huan's use of the light blue of the robe trimming, as well as the waterfall, and the greens and the browns for the trees and stones, where Chang used predominantly black ink. Both using silk as their canvases, Chang chose to compose his painting as a vertical scroll, while Huan has opted for that of an album leaf. Thank you all so much for listening to this presentation. I hope you enjoyed learning more in-depth information about the Southern Song Dynasty and Ma Huan. To close our presentation, we would like to leave you with a discussion question. Looking closely at Ma Huan's paintings, do you get a sense of a world within a world? If so, why do you think Huan did this? And was Huan successful in creating a space for the viewer to reflect on their relationship with nature? Again, thank you for listening and have a great day.